Honor to be here. I was just sharing with her a little bit earlier that it is good for me to get to come visit a big school, Paint Creek Rural High School, where I had the opportunity to go to school from the mid-50s through 1968. We normally had about 110 kids, grades 1 through 12. So this looks familiar, and it feels familiar, and it feels good. You don't hear me often say, "Go Horns," but I will say that here with a great passion. Good luck to the Longhorns as they play their games this year in this field house, in this gymnasium, and it is. And I was sharing with Jerry that it always does my heart good to be in a place where they teach our young students, our young citizens, to sing Texas, Our Texas. And I want to say thank you that you all did that extremely well. And when you graduate from here and you study hard and you go to the beloved Texas A&M, you will fit right in because they sing that song heartily at every opportunity they have. So thank you for doing this today. I want to say thanks to the community for supporting today's effort. The school board members that are here, thank you for your service to this community and to these students. But as this ISD renews its commitment to the values that made our country great, and to those individuals who protected those values with their defense of our nation, to all of my to all of my fellow veterans who are here today, you all make us very proud. And so 25 million people that I have the great privilege to represent say thank you as well. You know, the origins of Veterans Day, it dates back to the First World War, a war that was known as the Great War, or more optimistically, it was known as the War to End All Wars. In the 11th hour, the 11th day, the 11th month of 1918, the combatants signed that armistice agreement, ending hostilities, and an occasion that we mark on our calendars today. Of course, not only was World War I not the war to end all wars, as a matter of fact, it wasn't even all that long afterwards that we were in another world war, a war that my father participated in, and a number of these individuals who are on the stage with us today, the greatest generation, they are known as. They turned back the forces of evil in Europe. They conquered the unchecked aggression in the South Pacific. My dad, as a young 19-year-old, was a tail gunner on B-17s and flying out of East Anglia in Europe. He flew 35 missions over Nazi-held Germany. Then he went home, just like so many of your fathers and uncles and husbands and kinfolk. They just went home. They wanted to live in peace. Find their little patch of dirt somewhere. In many cases, I know there's one farmer back there on the back row, and more than that in this audience, that they just wanted to live in peace and go. And Dad's story, it's echoed all across this country. It's echoed right here in this room. Just humble heroes who did their job, who were called to serve their country. And they went back to live their lives. And again, it's a story that we've seen play out time after time all across America as Americans have consistently sent our best and our brightest. And I might add our bravest to confront the forces of darkness throughout the world. Time and time again, American military members, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, they have proven up to the challenge that has been posed by these forces of evil around the world. They are the reason America has become the shining beacon of freedom and prosperity. They are the reason that America has stood the test of time. It's a great experiment when you think about it. The latter parts of the 1700s, for 236 years, this country has prospered, has been a beacon across the world. And it ain't always been easy. Still not easy. After the World Wars came what they call the Cold War. And it didn't seem much different than the World Wars for those young individuals who were in the frozen mountains of Korea or in the jungles of Vietnam. For our Vietnam veterans in particular, that's my generation, their service overseas was further strained by the discord that was going on back home. They fought, they bled for their country and our ideals, I might add, just the same as all of the heroes who had come before them. But they faced all too often scorn and ridicule when they came back home. Now, thankfully, Americans have come to realize the error of their ways during that period of time. And today they appropriately celebrate the members of our military for what they do on our behalf. Today, young Americans are following in the footsteps of warriors of all eras, taking the fight to terrorists around the globe and keeping our homeland safe. I'm sure I don't have to tell anybody in this audience or in the sound of my voice that our fighting men and women have always been motivated by something far more powerful than a paycheck. It's a higher calling. It is rooted in the fundamental values of our nation, and it flows from the undeniable importance of freedom. I don't think there's any higher calling than public service. Whether it's being on the school board, whether it's in a city council, whether it's giving back in a charitable organization. I tell kids, I said, just find that place you can give back. I don't care whether it's the Marine Corps or the Peace Corps. Find that place you can give back. Be involved in some form of public service. But I will share with you this. I don't think there is a greater way to display that public service than wearing the uniform of your country. They live at a higher level. They're called to a higher purpose from my perspective. Someone who will face incoming fire to set people free. They're different. And they are deserving of our respect, our honor, both as they fight on the battlefield and when they return home. In just a couple of months, another legislative session is going to be conducted in Austin, Texas. And once again, we'll have to do everything that we can and are able to do for our wounded warriors who are coming home, as well as those who sacrifice body and soul in defense of their fellow Americans. In 2009, we came together in Austin and we amended the state constitution. You all were asked to consider amending our constitution, and you did, and thank you for that, by granting 100% exemption to disabled veterans on property taxes. So if it's a 100% disabled veteran, they don't pay property taxes, and appropriately so. It's a great way for us to say thank you In 2011, we extended that benefit to the surviving spouse of a veteran. This coming session, when we get there in January, I'm going to ask the legislature to extend that benefit to the surviving spouse of service members who are killed in action. They paid the ultimate price, and for their families, for their spouse, we should honor them with this property tax exemption as well. We also need to continue to improve our workforce development, better connect employers to these highly qualified veterans. You think about it, what you learned as a veteran. In many cases, highly desired traits, technical skills that the workforce needs, and we as a state need to be able to help our veterans connect with those employers that are looking for highly trained individuals. And we're kicking off some job fairs on the 15th of November. So if you know veterans who are looking to either improve their employment or an unemployed vet, pass that piece of information on to them on the 15th of November. They can go to a Texas Veterans Commission website and find that information. And the Workforce Commission is also launching an industry-driven program that will provide opportunities for veterans to receive training and occupational certification. TWC, the Workforce Commission, is providing the funds to, for these veterans and the employers to get them together. So, and we're targeting the oil and gas industry. Those of you right here in Diamondback have seen the impact of the oil and gas industry, the old Austin Chalk through the years, and now, of course, what's happening in all these shale plays. And the oil and gas industry is truly needing technically capable individuals, welders and drillers and pipe fitters and truck drivers. So helping those veterans move into those jobs is very important. The reason I share those with you is we need to send a clear message to our veterans. We honor you. We honor your families for the sacrifices that you have made for us. In Texas, we will never forget. We will never forget those who have sacrificed for us, who have given every last measure of devotion on the battlefield. And Texas will always remember the courage and the determination, the dedication of the men and women who wear our uniform and do everything that we can to help them heal and to return capably to the workforce. You see, our freedom is not a gift from academicians. It's not something that's delivered to us by poets or politicians. It is the gift of soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines. They're the ones who drop behind enemy lines, who take to the air, who sail on the open waters without knowing which mission will be their last. The courage they've displayed, the blood that they've shed, have literally purchased the free air that we breathe today. They protected the rights that we cherish, and they have granted us the liberty that fuels us to do better. So again, to all the veterans that are on this stage and in this audience, and all across this great state of ours at events like this that are occurring, I wanted to come here today and say thank you. Whether you fought in World War II, as my dad did, whether you were just back from the Middle East, thank you. God bless you. As we gather here today, I'm reminded of a quote from what I consider to be greatest president our country's ever produced. I'm biased. And that's Ronald Reagan. And he said that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We don't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. So once more, on behalf of the citizens of this state, thank you for that precious gift of freedom for this generation and for those who will follow the challenges before them. God bless you, and thank you for allowing me to come and be a part of it.